Hello, welcome to Balance Your Books podcast. Hello, Kimberly.
Hi, Kina.
Hope you are doing well today.
I am doing wonderful. How are you? I like those
Good.
glasses.
Thank you, thank you. I'll say who they are if they give us sponsorship.
Right,
We are
right.
accountants. We don't do
Otherwise,
things for free.
they're cute. Otherwise, they're cute.
Thank you. So, our third party, April, she told us that she's coming back in the summer. So hopefully for some future episodes that we are going to do in 2026, we will have our third person
Yes,
back
yes.
on the podcast.
She's busy. It's her busy season.
It's her busy season. And those who are out there who are accountants know there's a lot of audits, there's a lot of tax during the first part of the year, end of year, first part of the year. And so she's busy, you know. And then we also this year, before we kind of get into it, we also this year are going to have some guests on as well. So we've been expanding the Balance Your Books podcast universe. Part of that is we've expanded in terms of our website. So you can go to balanceyourbookspodcast.com as well as yourbalancepartners.com, which is our firm website. And then we also started a new series called Cash Flow Confidence. And why do we call it Cash Flow Confidence, Kimberly?
Because we want business owners to be confident about their cash flows. So this series is for business owners to join us live and ask questions that they'll have about their cash flow so that we can build up their confidence in it. If we stress anything, I think on every podcast we've talked about the importance of cash flow. And so we want business owners to be confident about their cash flow.
Exactly. And
What's the tagline? Bring the chaos, we'll sort it out.
Bring the chaos, we'll sort it out. Exactly. Because we know that there's chaos in small businesses and there's just nothing around that. So how do we sort out the chaos and work through the chaos? And so if you're interested in joining us, you can go to cashflowconfidence.net, cashflowconfidence.net. And then that's where you can sign up. We also have a little free gift if you sign up on a little tool you can use around cash flow. And you can also find out about our upcoming episodes there or in Eventbrite. And so we're trying to get out there and, leverage all of the different social channels and things of that nature to get what we feel is important information out to small businesses that we support every single day. And so, and we say small to medium to a little bit larger, and that's kind of getting into our topic for today.
But before we get into our topic.
Oh, yes, Kimberly, I could forget.
We always want the people to know, podcast land, please like, subscribe, and share. You can leave comments as well. You can get in touch with us. If there's a topic that you want us to cover, if you have a question on any of our topics, we are on Apple Podcasts, YouTube, and Spotify. We try to make ourselves available on all the different channels. So like, subscribe, share. If you don't like something, just send us an email.
Yeah. We'll address it.
We'll straighten it out. We'll straighten it out.
Bring that chaos there, and then we'll
bring it to us. Yes.
So thank you, Kimberly. So that kind of leads us into today's topic, because one of the things that we have always stressed as part of Balance Your Books podcast is we want businesses to win. There is, there's enough at the table. You can either work from abundance or you can work from scarcity. We believe that businesses can work from abundance. So there is enough on the table for everybody to be successful. Right. And so in that, having the right tools, having the right process, having the right financial understanding is key to getting your piece of that abundance that's on the table.
Yes. If you want the abundance, you have to know what abundance looks like.
Yes.
And you have to know what your numbers look like. So, and understand them.
Yes. And so one of the cases that, because like I said, Kimberly and I believe in supporting businesses, and it's kind of like we support small businesses. Then we really support Black owned businesses. Then if it's a Black woman business, that's dun dun, we're all over it. Exactly. And so we definitely today want to talk a little bit about what brand that we really love, and that's Uncle Nearest.
Yes. Yes. We love the brand. So let's get that out the way.
Yes.
We love the brand. We love the owner. We respect the brand and the owner. And so let's talk about it.
Yes. And so just to,
stuff in the news.
Yeah, we drink the product, and we have gone to the distillery in Tennessee, yes, which is an amazing venue, the way they've set it up, very, the people they have working there. It's always been a good experience when we've gone up there. Mm-hmm. And we have no ownership in it. This is just us supporting someone and a brand that the product that is actually good. So, yeah. That we enjoy. And so there's been a lot of talk, and maybe we could share a little bit from Fawn Weaver. Fawn Weaver, is the owner of Uncle Nearest, for those who don't know. And so maybe we can share a little bit of what she shared.
Ship of Uncle Nearest is done. If you've been reading the headlines lately, you probably thought that wasn't possible, but rest assured, it always was, and it is. I'm so grateful to God for our leadership team who kept their heads down and kept working. The same leadership team you've watched build Uncle Nearest never wavered. They blocked out the noise. Over the past 4 days, our legal teams have set several things in motion to protect this company, the legacy of Nearest Green, and the hundreds of thousands of people who have helped build Uncle Nearest one bottle at a time. First, Keith and I, as individuals, as well as the company's largest shareholder, filed a lawsuit against Farm Credit Mid-America in the Supreme Court of the state of New York. The complaint lays the groundwork to prove the bank knowingly circulated false accusations about Uncle Nearest, as well as Keith and me, including claims of missing inventory, financial misconduct, negative cash flow, and insolvency, despite possessing the records that contradicted every single one of those claims. More than 10 attorneys across New York, Atlanta, and New Orleans have spent the last 7 months reviewing this evidence together, and to say that they are ready to litigate this case is an understatement. Second, this morning I approved the filing of Chapter 11 to reorganize our debt to protect our team members, all Uncle Nearest creditors, not just one, and our shareholders. That filing immediately stayed the earlier lawsuit. Many who have read the headlines are understandably concerned about the allegations of financial irregularities. Frankly, if I were just reading the headlines or only the bank's allegations, I'd be concerned too. But that's one of the reasons I approved entering Chapter 11 this morning, because Chapter 11 requires complete financial transparency. In that courtroom, no one gets to hide behind filings without evidence or accusations without proof. And the picture that has been painted about Uncle Nearest will now have to be proven through numbers that add up, not words.
Court filing. That's good.
Or Chapter 11.
we love to end it on numbers have to add up.
Right. So that was, what date was that? That was March 17th.
Yes.
March 17th.
Yes. And let's give a little bit to make sure that for those who are not, we're real familiar with the product, the brand, and everything. So, Uncle Nearest is a liquor distributor that is located in the state of Tennessee. It was founded by Fawn Weaver, and her master distiller is Victoria
Edie Butler,
who
is a descendant of Uncle Nearest.
And so
the background there is Uncle Nearest Green taught Jack Daniels how to distill whiskey. So that's where the name comes from. Yes.
And they've won a lot of awards around the product. And so it started as maybe a couple different products, and then it has expanded significantly. They've expanded their distillery. They've expanded their exposure. Their product is in a lot more liquor stores, restaurants, all of those different things, especially in the Southeast. And so they've continued to expand. They've expanded into cognacs and working with France and things of that nature. So the business is growing. It's been a growing business. It's grown. The trajectory of its growth. It is privately owned, so we don't have the financials. And so it has grown significantly over the last, especially the last 5 years.
10 years.
10 years. 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
And so as part of growth, there are different ways that you finance growth. And so you can finance growth through private equity investors, you can finance through debt, things of this nature. So what it sounds like they did is that they did finance some through debt, through a bank. And this bank, when you finance through a bank, and that's why it's so important, why we want to talk about it here, is that this happens, it's at different scales. Like they probably ask for, 100 million. You may only ask for 100,000, but it's the same kind of thing for you at a small business. And as you grow at the different tiers, that you'll go to a bank and you want to finance, and the financing has to be collateralized in some way. So you have to have some back, you have to have some assets. For Nearest Green, if they have inventory, it's probably a big one for them. They had real estate, some of that maybe have some debt aside. We won't get all into it, but they have some value, I'm sure, probably appraised value higher than what they owe. So they had some assets that they could collateralize against that debt, using that debt to help grow their business, right? This is a normal process that businesses do around debt. And I know, Kimberly, you've helped a lot of publicly traded companies put together some of their debt.
Right. Put together debt offerings, going through debt covenant waivers, where if the finances aren't where they should be, and it looks like the institution, the organization is going to be in default, then there are certain agreements that you go through to get a waiver on those debt covenants, things like that. So yes.
And that's the thing that I think people need to understand is the bigger you are, the more banks, lenders, equity, they work with you a whole lot more than you're just regular. If you're just Joe Schmo. And so the everything is not afforded to everybody. And you could say there's a lot of different reasons why that happens. There's glad handing and good old boy networks and everything. And so it also is in lending. And so in this case, I'm sure Uncle Nearest went out, got some debt. And part of that in all the details is that if they feel like your business is not financially where it needs to be, they can take over.
They can
hire someone to take over, not them.
Right. Yes. Take over to make sure your business is where it should be.
Yes, to protect their interest. And so that's where receiverships come into place, is that this third party has been hired basically to run your company.
Yes.
And they may not run the day-to-day operations of your company, but they have to be the one that signs off on everything, right? And so that happens at different levels. So for a small business, what a lot of time that means is they can talk to the people who you have receivables with, or they can come and take your inventory, or they can seize your, if you have, like if you're a restaurant and you bought a bunch of equipment and that's what you use for your loan, they can come and take your equipment, right? To satisfy their debt. So they're in the details. You got to make sure you understand what it means when you are going out and getting that kind of debt. So for Uncle Nearest, they did that. It sounds like, from what Fawn is saying, that some of the things that the bank alleged in order to get the receivership is not necessarily the financial information that is accurate.
Right.
And so this is where, one of the things that I think we love about our profession is, in numbers, you can prove. Right. So as she was talking about the words versus the numbers, it's like, well, yeah, let's get into what the numbers are, because everything has supporting documentation, and everything has to be accounted for in accordance with generally accepted accounting principles in the United States of America.
Yes. U.S. GAAP.
Yes. And so, that's the part of going to court, and why I think she was saying why she's trying to do bankruptcy. And it's bankruptcy chapter 11. And people need to understand that bankruptcy chapter 11 does not mean you're broke.
Right.
It means that you are reorganizing debt in order to push past that. And a lot of different businesses do that. People also personally do that as well. But I think part of it sounds like, is trying to get the transparency of the numbers and what people are saying and proving out into a court of law. Where that's the one place that you lie, there are ramifications for lying and bringing things that are inappropriate.
Right. So that what we shown was on March 17th. Is that what we said? March 17th?
Mid-March.
I can't remember. It was in March. But then shortly thereafter, there was a suit filed by the receiver, basically saying that you can't file Chapter 11 bankruptcy.
Correct.
Because that she did not have the authority to file. Right, because the receiver, it was still under receivership technically at that time, and the receiver was the only one that could do that. So therefore the Chapter 11 filing was dismissed because of that. And I'm reading all the details
because it's moving.
Because everything was moved. And so then basically they requested a gag order against Fawn Weaver, so that she could not make public statements about the case. And that is why we have not heard anything from her since then, because she's been fairly transparent. And one thing that we did not show in that little snippet from her Instagram was where she took full accountability for basically not fully paying attention to the finances and trusting some of the wrong people.
Yep.
That and what led up to this entire situation, because we know even when we deal with our clients, they're about making money.
Yes.
They're about making money, running the business, and really don't want to take the time to look at the financials. It's like, hey, you're the accountant, you do that, right? But if anything goes wrong, even if I'm the accountant, ultimately you're responsible.
That's right.
For your operations. You're responsible for your finances. Even if you get a tax accountant to prepare your tax return, you signing that says that you are the one that's responsible for this.
Yep.
This CPA, this tax firm, whomever, they're just putting it together and filing it for you, but these are your records.
Yep.
So, so she, took accountability for that. And I think that's what a lot of businesses learn in the process, that yes, I want to run the business. I want to make money. I want to be the brand ambassador, but I also know in doing that, I need to be responsible and know exactly what's going on, know who I can trust and who I can't trust. And, like we've said before, because we also love Oprah, and Oprah signs every check. She signed
every check. I know. One day we said we were going to show that recording too. Yeah, she signs every check, and she's a billionaire.
Right. And that's why she's a billionaire.
That's why she's a billionaire. And that's the thing, is that understanding, because one of the things that potentially, when you look at Uncle Nearest, one of the things that could have done financially is, especially when you, because we've even had some of our smaller clients, particularly in the nonprofit side, but get an audit done, an external audit done, right? So get an external review, maybe right before she was deciding to do the lending, say, hey, let me get YBP to come in and do it, and let me let them do an external review to say, hey, okay, let me make sure all your numbers are right. Let me make sure what you're presenting to the bank is accurate. We're going to go through, we're going to do a sample of this, and we're going to opine on the validity of the statements and what your team is doing and what control
Right.
things we see are not in place, or what things that we don't, taking that time to get that external view, to challenge even your team, makes your team stronger.
Yes.
And so, putting that kind of thing in place where you're doing that every year makes your team more accountable to what they're doing for you every day.
Because you have an external party that is not vested in this.
Right.
We don't get a bonus.
Right.
Like based on what the bottom line says. We're in here just to help you out.
Yes. So even before you get to that point, you want to make sure that you're thinking of all the different things you can put in place. Because recognize, when you're not a finance person, I know when the finance stuff starts, you're like, and you don't necessarily really, really get it. That's where you can leverage that external. Yeah, that's where you can leverage that external review to be able to check against anybody you have working for you. And if the people you have working for you in finance get mad about it, that's a red flag.
Right.
Because every finance person who's ever worked should be used to an audit.
And if they're upset that you're bringing in an external party just to do a review, that's a red flag.
Huge red flag. So they should say, yeah, absolutely. We're confident in what we're doing. Bring them on. If that's not what they're saying, there's an issue.
Yeah. Even more reason to bring
even more reason. You should rush to get it done then, especially. And so it's the other thing that you mentioned, Kimberly, that when we were kind of prepping for this call is we got to also look at business is cutthroat. And sometimes people are setting you up because they see you have a good thing and are trying to get it.
Yep.
Give us your take. Give us your,
Well, so this is the thing. Like I've worked with Fortune 500 companies that, they went through the debt covenant process and reviewing that and getting waivers so that they won't be in default, right? What will happen though is if you're determined to be in default and you've collateralized these assets, it's kind of like foreclosure. It's foreclosure on your business.
Yep.
Like they can foreclose on your home. If you don't pay your mortgage, they will foreclose on your business. What does that mean? They take it.
Yep.
They take it. And this is a very successful company that can be taken. The only problem is, and I think they know this, because even in the receivership, Fawn Weaver's job was just to market and be the brand ambassador, right? I think they know that if Uncle Nearest is owned by someone else, it will not be as successful.
Exactly.
It will not be as successful.
If they don't recognize that, they should.
Right. Because one of the things that happened when it first happened, Fawn went on a clear the shelves campaign. And people all over were buying multiple bottles. I myself own multiple bottles of Uncle Nearest. And we're like, hey, that's the best way we can help this brand that we believe in be successful, is we're going to go out and we're going to clear the shelves. So, that's one of the things that is out there in the universe, is that if the Weavers are not successful with this, that company can be taken and placed under ownership of someone else.
Yeah, because think about it. And this is where, because you see people do different, commentaries on this. And sometimes I wonder, have they ever owned a business before? Because part of the, what's really interesting is, how did it get to the point that the bank did a receivership as opposed to trying to refinance debt? Because in your example that you used for mortgages and things of that nature, most times banks don't want to own houses. So if they can work it out with you, that and why you should always go in and negotiate first to say, hey, okay, I know my mortgage is $2,000. I just lost my job. Can I do $500 a month for the next year? And then what can we do that, where I can stay still in good graces, keep my home, don't just not pay, right? Go and try to negotiate something else, because deep down, they don't really want your property, because they aren't in the selling houses business. They're in the financing business. And so the same thing, I was just watching Clark Howard. I love Clark Howard, so shout out to him.
Yes.
He was saying the same thing around cars right now, because a lot of people, it's hard economic times right now. Gas is expensive and everything else around it. And so he was saying, go back to your car lender and try and negotiate a different amount, because they don't really want your car either. They don't really want to repossess it. But when you just stop paying,
and no communication.
Yes. And so I don't know if her finance team thought the nifty thing to do was just to stop paying. But, and that's how it led to it. But it's like the renegotiation piece. You have to ask yourself, though, why isn't the financer trying to renegotiate? Because clearly it's a business that makes money.
Right.
So that's the part where it's like, or are there other ulterior motives by some that are involved that are trying to do a takeover?
Exactly. So that was some good stuff. That while this is happening with a larger company, that small businesses can take into account, particularly when you're looking at lending or any type of external investors that you have. The agreements that you have are very key. The finances are very important. And make sure you go into partnership with people that are legitimate, that you can trust, and don't have ulterior motives.
Who'll tell you no?
Yeah.
Who'll tell you, like, let's pause on this, let's look at this, and get that third party review.
Yep.
Get that third party review. Challenge your team. And if you need it, we're here for you.
Yes.
To do it.
So Kina.
Oh, is it time?
Yeah, we gotta shoot.
Shoot what, Kimberly? Shooting the yeah. Yes. So it is a great time. It's spring, and a lot of great things are happening in Atlanta where we are. And one of those is the WNBA.
Look, the season is about to start. I think in our last podcast we mentioned that they were negotiating. So of course, since then they have reached an agreement. They reached a deal to get more money. The league has expanded. There are 2 more teams this year. There'll be 3 more next year.
Yep.
And in Atlanta, we're excited because we got Angel Reese on the team.
Yes.
We traded for Angel Reese. This is the 30th year of the WNBA. Started in 1996, so it's the 30-year anniversary of the WNBA.
Yes.
So many happy things going on, and this is our first year we have season tickets,
right?
Which we got before. We got them before the trade,
yes,
because we've been supporters for years. But this time we bit the bullet and got season tickets.
Because shout out to Dwayne, who helped us get in, because otherwise we wouldn't have got in. Because fortunately,
we wouldn't have got in. Our friend had season tickets, and he could add us on to his season tickets. But we season ticket holders. And we are excited about the season.
Yes.
And my favorite player, Alicia Gray, got her new contract. And so just have to share with the people that, and I've been trying.
Look, it's been out all, because she knew that she was going to be a topic. So since the beginning of this podcast, it's been there.
Yes. So if you're listening, if you're not watching, I have locks, and I have one gray lock that's shorter than the rest, because these gray hairs. And when it was very short, it used to always just stick out. It used to always stick out. And Kina be like, Kimberly, your hair. And I'd try and put it down and it would stick back out. So eventually I named this gray hair Alicia Gray.
Yeah.
It was probably last year, right around, it was before the All-Star weekend, but I named the gray hair Alicia Gray because she's an all-star. And she's an all-star. And sometimes when I'm trying to, say, hey, calm down, she'll pop back out. And
she got that jumper. She got that jumper.
She's making that money. And so Alicia Gray is out. But let me tell you, when I was getting ready for the podcast, she was like behaving. And I was like, oh, she's going to behave because she got her money. And then, yeah.
No, but it's prime time because we all now.
It's prime time.
Yes.
Prime time. It's time to be on.
It's time to be on.
Alicia Gray is front and center, and we are excited about this upcoming WNBA season.
Yes. So, we got to take on the Aces, I believe, is our opener. That's
our home opener, May 17th.
Which has got the MVP. Because, I do have her shirt and her shoes. So, but yeah, it's going to be an exciting year. Congratulations to the WNBA. 30 years, growing. I would love to see those numbers. I would love to get into that and see what their revenue model is structured on, because there's a lot of opportunity. They're going to be renegotiating their TV contracts, which is a big part of the revenue model for the WNBA, or all leagues. But that's a big part of theirs is viewership and how to get those advertising dollars. So, I look at it for fun, and I also look at it for how the business model. I just can't help it.
Right.
Can't help it. Always trying to figure out how you make money.
You can't help but to think about that. Like,
how is it? But that's, because that's where the negotiations, I kept hearing about it. I was like, man, when are they just going to put the numbers on the table? The numbers, when you put the numbers on the table and where you're trying to go and what numbers you're trying to hit, how can everybody win? And I think I saw something. I think that actually, maybe it's Inyeke or one of them, one of the player representatives said something around when they brought in I think she used to work in a woman who used to work in an investment banking or something. When they brought her in.
Yeah. She did it for free.
Yeah. Like she was brought in and said like basically like, you got to look at the numbers, right? You're talking up here in this other stuff, but what are the numbers saying? And so I was like, yeah, finally. I've been saying that for months. But yeah, so it's going to be really great. And we'll give some highlights on it maybe in some future podcasts. But thank you, everybody, for joining Balance Your Books podcast today. Remember to like, subscribe, and as we mentioned, you can also check us out if you have questions on cashflowconfidence.net. So you can also come and join the fun there as well for any live sessions. But Kimberly, I think that's it.
That's it. This is a longer one, longer than usual, but it's a good one.
All right. Thank you for listening or watching.
Until next time.